Welcome back everybody to my channel. Today we're going to talk about Velvet Buzzsaw. This is a new Netflix original film that stars Jake Gyllenhaal and is directed by the guy who directed Nightcrawler. No, not that Nightcrawler, this Nightcrawler. This is a very interesting movie. After a few paintings are discovered, they start to haunt the people that are trying to gain money off of them. This movie is huge around the art. They just live inside this little art world that they have. It's a very fancy movie, and I was actually wanting to look at more art after this movie. So we have a movie that is parts critiquing art and understanding the art world and looking at beautiful paintings, and then other half of the movie is spirits attacking people that had found this art from this dead guy, and now the art is haunting them and killing them off because they are trying to gain money off of it. It's two different movies, and at times I feel like it really does feel like two movies. One part of the movie I really enjoyed. I loved watching them work around this art world and just understanding more about it, because I don't look at art, I don't go to art museums or whatever. It was interesting to watch how people kind of walk about art museums, what they think about, how they buy art, how they talk to other artists. I loved watching that. It was really interesting. And then it became a movie where this young girl found the art from a dead guy. People started to see things, and the movie was still focusing on people's views on art, but it was throwing in some of this horror aspect. So it really did feel like two completely different movies, and they just really didn't kind of mesh together. I was really on board with one part of the movie where they're viewing the art and it's just the art world, and I really enjoyed it. And the parts with the horror aspect was good too. It just felt like a completely different movie that wasn't attached to this movie. And that's a good and bad thing as well, because I enjoyed both parts, but I felt like they didn't connect together. I felt like the horror aspect was just a little side story that was going on with this movie, and they were still focusing on buying and selling art, critiquing art, and just getting to know more people in the art world. But I still managed to really enjoy this movie. I think the acting is great from Jake Gyllenhaal. The directing from Dan Gilroy is awesome. He did a great job directing Jake Gyllenhaal in the Nightcrawler movie. But Jake Gyllenhaal was so invested in his role. The way that he just handled himself, you could tell that he's viewed art plenty of times in the past, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. The character interactions were interesting, and the different art pieces in this museum were creative, and how it led to people dying was creative as well. They were utilizing different arts from this guy that had passed away, and even art that was just recently made to kill off people as well. So parts I really enjoyed. Some parts felt rather slow and detached from the movie that I originally was watching. And I watched the trailer, I knew it was about, I was excited to see a horror movie, and going into it I was expecting a full-fledged horror film, but what we got felt like two different movies. And at times I'm okay with that, and times I'm just kind of scratching my head a little bit about that. But overall, I think I enjoyed more of the first half of the movie, where they were talking about art, selling art, and just I wanted to look at art afterwards and kind of critique it as well. No, boring. Yes, beautiful. So before I give you my final score on Velvet Buzzsaw, make sure to check out my Netflix playlist right above. There you can find original reviews only on Netflix. So overall, Velvet Buzzsaw, I enjoyed it. I think that it had some really good character interactions. The kills were creative. It just felt like two different movies, but the acting was really good and the directing kept me interested throughout the movie. I'm gonna go ahead and give Velvet Buzzsaw a B. Thank you guys for checking out my review for Velvet Buzzsaw. You can check out my review for Miss Bala right over here. This was the only wide release movie coming out this weekend. Make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. My name is JustinWatchesMovies, and you guys stay classy, YouTube.